Well, good afternoon and welcome to Moving Forwards Together, the closing session. So before we get stuck into this, I just wanted to apologise for any technical issues that some of you have experienced today, because we have recorded all of the sessions and you will be able to watch them back on demand. So, you know, just keep your eyes peeled on your emails and we will be in touch with how you can do that. But thank you for bearing with us. You know, it's a new platform for us and, you know, super excited to be here. So thank you. So, my goodness, what a day we've all had. Before I hand you over to Sarah, who's going to share her story with us to finish up, and then Annwen Jones, who's going to finish with some highlights from today, I thought we could have a little bit of fun, and please join in with me. Don't leave me hanging. So what 3 words would you use to describe how you feel right now after the day that we've had today? And can you add them to the chat? And I've got Helen on the feed loop chat and I've got an eye on the chat here as well. So just in the chat, just put in there the 3 words that sum up how you're feeling right here and right now. And to give you a starter for 10 or a starter for 3, my 3 words would be totally fired up, TFU. So what are yours? What have we got? Helen, don't forget, if you ping some over to me. Oh, I've got some coming through on feed loop. I've got MEI, moved, energized, inspired. I've got a lovely comment here. Wonderful day. Thank you to everyone. EEH, excited, eager, and happy. Got another one comes through. Exhilarated, inspired, hopeful. Oh my goodness, I can't keep up now. Motivated, educated, inspired. Inspired seems to be it's coming through. Loads here. Given hope and more aware. I'll let you off having 5 words there. That's okay, Avril. Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Well, look, keep them coming, guys. This is really great, and I'm so pleased that you're feeling this way. It has been just such an amazing day, and just a tremendous experience. So, as I said, I'm going to hand you over now to the lovely Sarah White, who's going to share her story and let us know, you know, her experience. And then after Sarah shared her story, we're going to go into a little bit of conversation and do a few sort of questions and answers as well before we then move on to Annwen. So, Sarah, it's over to you. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you. Hello, everyone. I've just realised we're right at the end of the day, and like that's a horrible place to be, because I've either got to leave on a really fantastic high note, or everyone's going to be really disappointed. So I'll do my best. But so just briefly, my story. I'm 45. I live just outside of London, and I was diagnosed with stage 3C last July. And that was a massive surprise to me. I'd always been sort of really active and fit. And I've heard other stories where women have spent sort of like the best part of a year maybe going to and from their GPs with symptoms and not being, you know, taken any notice of. But that wasn't actually what happened with me. It was really quick. So it all happened within the space of a month, really, that I noticed that I was bloated. I couldn't eat very much without feeling completely full. And then I started to have some pains around my ovaries. And I was speaking to a friend of mine at work, and she said, oh, you know, you better check, and if it better not be ovarian cancer, because that's really bad. So I phoned my doctor up, and I said to her what my symptoms were. And she said, well, what do you think it is? And I said, look, I'm a bit worried it's cancer. So I was really lucky that because I never knew anything about CA125, but I was really lucky that she put that on my blood test. And 3 days later, it came back that it was high. Still didn't really know what that meant. So I was sent for a scan, and before the results even came back, I was in so much pain. Within 3 or 4 days, I couldn't get off the sofa, and my mum, who was with me at the time, she phoned for an ambulance. So again, getting to A&E, and fortunate that there was a gynae specialist in there, just completely coincidental, sent me straight to the gynae unit, and I stayed there for the week really, and that's where I was diagnosed. And it was in lockdown, and I was on my own when I was told, and I couldn't have anyone come up to the hospital, which was hard, wasn't great. But that oncologist, she just happened to be on a rotation, and she should have been at Royal London, and she was the one that wouldn't let me go home, said that I had to stay because I needed the scans, and had I not stayed, my treatment would have been delayed probably by another month waiting for scans. But she kept me in, and I started chemo 2 weeks later. So I had 3 rounds of chemo and surgery, and then chemo again. And in between that, I had a really bad experience with my CNS. They never made any inquiries as to how I was, and I don't know why. I just thought they might be interested. And even when I phoned them, it was really hard to get hold of them. And when I did, I felt like I was just being brushed off, and I was sort of being a bit of a nuisance to them. So a friend of mine found Target and sent me the number, and I finally plucked up the courage to phone, and Val picked the phone up. And that first time, I think I was on there for like almost an hour and a half, and probably crying for most of that time. But Val just listened. I didn't feel rushed. She asked how my mum was, my daughter, because she was only 16 at the time. She was brilliant. And then after that, I've spoken to Rachel as well, and Rachel's amazing because she comes from a trials background. So I was able to talk to her about, if this doesn't work, what do I do? So I had masses of support from Target, and I will be forever grateful for that, because I genuinely don't know what I would have done without that. But I finished my chemo last December, and I went on to Avastin, which has worked so far. And the only thing is, I'm due to finish next month. So I'm sure there'll be ladies on now who have been in that position or are in that position. And I think for me, it seems like there isn't lots of support, but there is support out there. There is support, and a lot of time for people that are going through treatment. But it's not until you finish treatment that really that's when you really need it, because it feels like you're just waiting for a recurrence. That's how it feels. And you really need some positive energy when you finish treatment. When I finished chemo, I wasn't all excited, not at all. And I won't be excited next month when I finish Avastin. But, all you can do is do your best, hope for the best. And I suppose really my biggest message to anyone with this is that when I found out, and I was only 45 at the time, and I thought, right, I'm going to die. I probably won't see Christmas. And I think I remembered saying that. I get a bit tearful now saying it. I remember saying that to Val. I definitely said it to Rachel. And you need someone to say to you, just because you've got this, it doesn't mean you're going to die. And you really do need someone to say that. So if there is anyone listening today who's just found out or is going through their first line treatment, or any family that have just found out, it doesn't mean that you're going to die. So really, that's me, really.
Goodness, thank you so much, Sarah. Such a difficult thing to do, to tell such a personal story on a stage like this, and yet it's so important, because in this community, like as we've said at the start of most of these sessions, everyone's at different stages and so on, and takes different things. And I'm seeing some amazing comments that are coming up in the chat here with other people sharing, where they are as well, and just saying, how amazing you are, and the stories of how, and they reached out to Target, what they got as well. Thank you for sharing. what a woman you are. You know, I hope that, you know, you'll get a chance to have a little sort of read through and take some positivity from that, and just, yeah, thank you so much. Beautiful story. So Sarah, you mentioned that you got some support from the lovely Val and Rachel on our support line and so on. You've also, I mean, how did you find out about us? Was you know, where did you find us?
So I got to the stage where, because all of the data online is really old, or it's from America or from another country, as soon as you go online, you think, okay, that's where I've got the whole thing right, I'm going to die, and I'm probably going to die within a year. So I got to the point where I couldn't look at anything. So a friend of mine had found Target, and she knew the trouble I was having with my CNS. So she sent it to me and said, look, when you're ready, then I've found this group, it's really good, have a little look. And that's how it was, really. And it took me a couple of weeks to pluck up the courage, really, because I'd had such a bad experience with the CNS, and I thought, oh, am I going to be fobbed off again? You know, little did I know. So
yeah. Oh, great. Well, really glad that you found us. And I mean, have you had a chance to see some of the sessions that we've had running today?
yes, so I've been in and out of the sessions in between that and work, because I'm back at work almost full time now. But they've been great today. I know I've seen some of the guest speakers previously, so I know how well they come across, but it's been really good. And it's so nice to see there are so many people online watching this.
Oh, we've just been bowled over by the amount of people that have come together today, and yeah, it's been really super. I've been sort of watching the names coming up and going, oh, you know, it's great, because it's you know, it's not quite the same as meeting in person, but it's still lovely to have this platform to come together. And so, just reflecting back on today, what's been the highlight for you?
I suppose it's really looking over data and knowing that that will be updated, because that's really important, because the first thing you do is you pick up your phone or a tablet or a laptop if you're given a diagnosis with anything. If you cut your hand, you're going to look at it. So it's really important to know that stats are being looked at properly now. There's some money going into making sure that there are the right details on there, and that, you know, we can see the different treatment that people have depending on where they are. At least there is more, you can then learn to be more proactive about your own treatment as well, which is really important. You have to, that's the thing that I've learned as well. Before, I would have been trusting of anything, and I'm not distrustful of any medical advice, but now I'm more proactive in looking into it myself as well, because it's really important you know what you're entitled to and what's out there for you.
Brilliant, thank you. And again, reflecting back on today, what are your 3 words? How are you feeling right now at this moment?
It's more around, not necessarily 3 words, but it's more around the feeling of togetherness, because you can see how many people are on, and I like to go onto the tea and chat and speak to everyone, and I've made such lovely friends on there. But togetherness, really, for me. So only 1 word, if that's okay.
That's okay. That's a great word. You can have that one.
Thank you.
That's brilliant. And I've seen some lovely comments in the chat about how you know, people are, you know, loving actually seeing you chatting and stuff, you know. So yes, that's super. And finally, thinking about moving forwards together, what do you think we can do to sort of move forwards together from today onwards?
I think to put some more, maybe more time and effort into looking after treatment, because so much is put into diagnosis and treatment. It's really, this is now really apparent for me. But post-treatment is so important for mental health and personal health as well. You've got to be hopeful, and you've got to feel supported. So yeah, that for me, post-treatment is probably more important than whilst you're undergoing treatment. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Sarah. That's really, really lovely. Thank you. So I'm now going to hand over to Annwen, because we're coming towards the end of our session now. I know we could talk for a lot longer, but I am going to hand over to Annwen. So thank you, Sarah, and Annwen, it's over to you.
Thank you, Susan. And Sarah, that was deeply moving and impactful. And I thank you for sharing that with us. You know, we've had, Sue spoke to us at the beginning of the day, Sarah spoke to us at the end of the day, and it's not easy sharing your story, but it has such an impact. And I think it is correct that that is how we start and end our conference. Susan, you asked me to mention what my highlights were. We don't have a huge amount of time, so I'm going to keep this fairly top level. I mean, there was so much in today. We've covered a huge amount of ground. I started earlier in the day talking about the fact that we've got more opportunity now to make progress and accelerate the pace of change than we've ever had. And so one of the big highlights for me was hearing from Professor Gurley about the opportunities to press ahead with personalized medicine, the advances that we've seen in bioinformatics, and the development of genomic medicine. And there is so much hope. We have seen a lot of progress in recent years in new treatments, and we now have that platform. And it's really important that we make sure that our researchers are supported in that. And I was also really encouraged to hear from Professor Menon about the next steps in ovarian cancer screening. And this is, of course, screening for asymptomatic women. So we're talking about developing a screening program similar to breast and cervical screening. This is not about the diagnosis of ovarian cancer, but the work that's being done on evaluating new biomarkers is really encouraging, and there are trials in place. We also heard from Professor Sparrow and Dr. Vicky Barber about the positive steps that are being taken to improve earlier diagnosis. I think the importance of that diagnosis has really kind of permeated everything today. You know, we heard from Dr. Andy Nordin about the findings from our audit pilot, and it's absolutely vital that we make sure that every person has access to the best possible treatment. But the key drivers for so many is making sure that the diagnosis is made as early as possible, so that women are well enough to go into treatment. And you know, going forward, our work to improve awareness of the symptoms and to make sure that all GPs know what to look out for and have the tools to be able to make accurate referrals. That's incredibly vital. We also heard, and Sarah mentioned the importance when she spoke, we heard about mental health and well-being from Dr. Lakhani, and the importance of communications. I found that session really fascinating. And she used a phrase about emotions being contagious, positive or negative. And certainly, if I'm thinking about today and the feedback that kind of we've seen, I'm hoping that people really feel that today has been, you know, a positive experience, and being with people who are very positive. I mean, I think all of the sessions, there was a highlight in every session, so but we don't have time to go through all of them, which I'm really sorry about. But I think there were two big themes, I think, that stay in my mind as we end the day. One is the breadth of the opportunity that we now have. You know, there are opportunities in every area, whether that's early diagnosis, support, or discovering new treatments. And we have to seize those opportunities. We have to do that. The second big theme was around our collective power. And whether that's in campaigning or in supporting early diagnosis or in raising funds, whatever it is. And I'd like to just re-quote Sharon Hodgson MP, the chair of the all-party parliamentary group on ovarian cancer, when she said, "The work of target ovarian cancer campaigners has changed and saved lives." And I think that that is a powerful reminder to us to work together, as we have done in the past, but at greater scale, so that we can really seize these opportunities that we now have. So, and my three words, just to end this, and they're my favourite three words, actually. Let's do it.